to. I like to watch biopics of famous scientists and mathematicians, right? Some of them are really good, and some of them are just terrible. And I want to know what y'all think about the most famous biopics of math and physics that exist. So we'll do our ranking system. I'm gonna get the poll up and everything, so you guys can vote. And then I of course, you know the drill. I mean, ultimately, the streamer will get what we want. I will get what I want in the end. And the idea is I'm gonna place the poll in chat once we start the ranking, and you can go ahead and let me know what you think of the movie up for discussion. Biopics have this tendency to, embellish history. They ultimately give this idea that genius is something that these people are born with, and and wouldn't it be great if you had it and stuff like that. That's obviously not the case. And it's just a really fun thing. They're entertainment, right? And it's good to be entertained by them. It's also good to have ambitions to have accomplishments like these people in the biopics and whatnot. But remember, at the end of the day, this is just entertainment. They're not always even accurate representations of these people's lives, but it's a lot of fun. So let's start off with this tier list. First up, we have A Beautiful Mind. Now, A Beautiful Mind, the story that follows John Nash, played by Russell Crowe. I think an important thing to remember when you are what's a biopic? Great question. A biopic is a biographical film. Yes, it's like a film that's a biography, but it's also meant to be entertaining. Where's the poll? There we go. So it's meant to be entertaining. It's a portrayal of someone's life and the things that they did. Yeah, so it's a biography about someone's life. It's oftentimes dramatized or whatnot. But John Nash was a remarkable story. A schizophrenic mathematician who didn't know he had schizophrenia. And this was in the 40s, I believe? 60s. Was it 60s? No. Education, Princeton. 48 to 50. So I think it was the 40s. But it goes up to the 60s. Yeah. Isn't red worse and green better? Not on this. So let's see here. We have a split tie between A and B. B just pulled ahead. I actually thought it was amazing. I watched this movie all the time when I was younger. Man, now you guys are split on it between A's and B's. I was actually thinking S. Russell Crowe's brilliant in this. The screenplay is fantastic. I just thought it was really good. It's inspirational, but at the same time, emphasizes his demons. I would say if I had a criticism, a lot of times people will use this example to try to I don't know, associate some sort of mental illness with one's ability to perform well in physics or math. And I think that's pretty lousy. You know what I mean? That's obviously not a fair thing to do. But that's really my only criticism, and it's not even the movie's fault. I would say that's what people want to do because they want to feel empowered or something. But I don't know. I mean, I don't see it as an A or B. I really think it's S. Are we gonna fight? I really like this film. Only problem I have is with the end's kind of saying, "'Tis all good now," ignoring the fact that he was hospitalized many times after. That's a good point. I thought we only had auditory hallucinations, not visual in reality. I don't know. I think you can certainly visualize things, but so it's there's some different, there's perception and then there's visualization. I think you can perceive realities that are not real, that people are watching you or talking about you or people are following you or things like that. But that's the idea behind the screenplay is it's not or people are conversing with you. I don't think, the beauty of A Beautiful Mind for me was I didn't feel like John Nash thought that there was a person, that Vision was in the same room as him all the time. You know what I mean? That wasn't how I perceived A Beautiful Mind. I perceived it as if he had someone who was overly stating how good he was always, right? That was the thing. Sensation and perception. Yeah, I didn't feel like he actually felt saw someone in the room. It was more like he always had someone sort of explaining to him how good he was and how bright he was and how you don't need anybody else and how great you are. So let's rank this, because I'm getting, oh, all right, we're gonna go A. Right now we're on Genius. Now Genius was National Geographic's short series on Einstein. Genius follows Albert Einstein. They have another series that kind of tanked, I think. It wasn't very interesting. I watched a couple episodes and was like, eh. But Genius follows Albert Einstein's life. Really, really interesting story. You know, it goes very into detail about his relationship with Mileva. That was, you know, I learned a lot about it. I learned a lot about his relationship to Mileva. I learned a lot about the way that he treated her, you know, and it was a very toxic relationship. And it's hard to say who, you know, there was no who was in the right or who was in the wrong in that relationship. It was just a mess. And I think they did a great job. Both the actors that played Einstein and Mileva did fantastic. And then, you know, it was really, really well done. Man, it's between S. Oh, let's do our ranking. Let's do our ranking here. Let's stop this one. Okay, ranking's open. I'm trying to think if I really want to say S. It's so good. The one thing I really can't stand is the transition from Einstein, from old to young Einstein. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna go S tier with it. We'll see if anybody else wants to get in some votes. All right, we're gonna go S tier on this. I feel comfortable saying S tier for this one. And we're gonna move on to the next one. Hawking. The BBC version of Hawking is the one where Benedict Cumberbatch plays Hawking. Now we're gonna also, where's the theory of everything? We're gonna do that one right next. Hawking is a different look at Hawking's life than the theory of everything. Hawking is the BBC version. It really follows Hawking's story, just Hawking's narrative. Like that's it. I did have some complaints, like the fact that like they didn't talk about Jane Wilde like at all, really. And but the physics behind it was really good. I'm a big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch though. Like a really big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch. He can do so many roles so well. And the progression, the story of Stephen Hawking through graduate school is so important and big. I actually think I kind of like it a little bit more than Theory of Everything. So I think what I'm gonna do is put it in A. I'm gonna side with Chad on this one again. I'm gonna side with Chad. I think I'm gonna put it in A. But now let's talk about the Theory of Everything with, what's his name? Tom, what's his name? Reddington? What's his name? Eddie Redmayne. Wow, I was way off. I was so far off. So Eddie Redmayne is fantastic. He's a fantastic actor, but I really just didn't like the movie. Like I didn't like how much emphasis they placed on Jane Wilde. That's because it's based on a book written by Hawking's first wife. So Wilde had a lot to do with it, with the screenplay and stuff. You know what? I don't see it. We're gonna go with B. We're going to be on Theory of Everything. Hidden Figures. So what do you guys think about Hidden Figures? I personally am going to start off by going with a 1 because I absolutely adored this movie. I loved the fact that I just like all the characters. They did a fantastic job. Not to mention like the fact that this was a story that was not well told before it. It's so good. And the fact that like these people are racing against against calculators, and the calculators do something wrong, and the fact that only a human calculator is able to do something. And maybe I'm really fascinated because we have this, we know that automation is better than human, right? AI is, computers are better than humans at a lot of things. Like the new Veritasium video. Has anyone seen the new Veritasium video for this week? Where he talks about the self-driving cars. How good is that? That we have self-driving cars that cause, way less accidents. The accidents that it did cause were mostly human error. There was the statistics that he gave made me crack up laughing. Not only did it only have 3 pedestrian accidents in like a single year or whatever, out of 18 accidents, it had 3 pedestrian accidents. All 3 of them, one was a walker, one was a biker, and one was a skateboarder. And all 3 of those instances, the people ran into a parked car. Like what? Like how do you have an automated vehicle where people are just running into it when it's parked? Like that's crazy. But it's it's one of those things where it's like automated cars are going to become a thing that I think is very, very increased in popularity. But yeah, so I don't know. The story was really, really good. What are we thinking? We're tied between S's and B's, or S's and A's. I think it's an S tier movie. I'm gonna go S for Hidden Figures. I like it too much. All right, The Imitation Game. Let's see here. Another Benedict Cumberbatch movie. Plays a brilliant Alan Turing and the Enigma machine. Let's do, hold on, I gotta start it. Wait, I gotta start it. Okay, now it's started. So if you voted, revote. The Alan Turing and the Enigma machine. I'm seeing a lot of S's. You guys gotta recast your votes though. I don't know, I wasn't feeling like an S for this. But Alan Turing does so good. Oh man. And it's a great story. I feel like the thing that I didn't like about it was that I don't feel like Alan Turing was that pompous, right? Like, I don't feel like Alan Turing was that pompous. But, like, the movie displayed him as, like, so arrogant and so unwilling to work with people. But I just didn't think that he was that way. And I don't really know what I'm basing that off of. He died so young, and under horrible circumstances.
Nor that handsome, but we deal with it.
Nor that handsome, yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is a pretty handsome fella. So what is better? I guess let's go off of Hidden Figures. What's better, Hidden Figures or the Imitation Game? And honestly, I don't think I could separate the two. I honestly don't think I could separate the two because they're both so good. Now we come to Infinity. This is a movie I got to watch last night because I've never seen it and I wanted to have more movies for this. So I watched Infinity last night with Matthew Broderick and someone else. And I can honestly say that this is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life. It's so bad. And I was sitting there thinking, like, young Matthew Broderick, gotta be really good because young Matthew Broderick was very good. The reviews on it are a lie. This one's getting firmly for me a D. I do not see this one going any higher. I saw Infinity through Blockbuster. Yeah, it's from like 1996, I think, or something like that, or 92, 96. 97? I don't know, something like that. Let's talk about some of the critiques. Firstly, like, can we talk about the scenes? Like, there was one scene where they go and okay, so if you don't know the story and you want to watch it, mute me for this because there's some spoilers. It's the story of Richard Feynman and his first wife, okay? Absolutely adored his first wife. Now, it's kind of a cringe story because, like, not because of the fact that they were in love and they had a brilliant love. I'm sure that that story is fantastic, but more of the story about, like, he used that as, like, to build up more anecdotes later in life where he would say, like, things to his wife, his current wives that were, inappropriate or not good, like, like, my one and true love was my first wife and things like that. He would say to his current wives. And it was just like, I mean, like, I feel like he built his whole life up on anecdotes, right? Like, that was his method for, having stories to be told about him. He probably predicted Instagram and knew that people would be quoting nonsense from him for eons, right? So, so it was actually written, the screenplay was written by Matthew's mom, and he directed it. Yes, Lobo, that's real. Budget, $5 million. Box office, 195,000. Wow. It was so bad. And then so not only was it like that, where it was like clearly one of those things where you knew that, like, you knew that eventually, like, Feynman would use anecdotes of it, but, like, they played the anecdotes in the movie. The things that, like, really annoyed me about Feynman's character, they played that out in the movie, like, a bunch of times. So you're just, like, watching it, you're like, what a tool. Like, what a tool. But anyways, they barely showed any of the physics and math that was, like, exciting that Feynman did during that time. Like, they didn't show, like, anything, which was really a big bummer because, like, he did such brilliant things during that time That is what you want to see. And instead it was this like story about like him and his wife, and it was so awkward. Like there was one scene where they're like smooching in some cousin's apartment or hotel room or something. I don't know what it was. And you know, they're smooching and then they get it on and then they go to sleep. And I kid you not, the next scene is them in bed in the middle of the night with like a light shining in from the outside, right? Like a street lamp or something like that. And she's awake and she's like, Richie. And she like pushes him. She's like, Richie. And she pushes him and he wakes up and he's like, huh? And then they smooch. And then they go back to sleep, and that's the end of the scene. That's it. No more words, no more plot, no nothing. Just a quick smooch and back to bed, right? You think it stops there. You think it'd be over. But no, the next scene, they wake up in the morning, still in bed. They wake up, they look at each other, they smile, they smooch, and then end scene. They ended the scene again. And then they like transport to some other time and place. It's like, what is that? Like, what are we doing these multiple scenes where it's just two people smooching for like a second? No lines, no anything. It's so weird and awkward. You're just sitting there like, oh man, it was so bad. The anecdote about the abacus. Oh man. And they make his wife, Arlene or whatever her name is, look like such a dingus, sitting there like, is that your dog? Then it cuts back to Feynman. He's doing this thing with the abacus. And then it goes back to Arlene. Is that your dad? Then it goes back to Feynman. And it's like, so what? Oh man, it was so bad. Oh wait, hold on. We'll do this one green. I just don't want anything to touch it. I don't want anything to be near it. Oh wait, how do you do just a dot, like dot? Well, anyways. I just don't want anything to be near it. Next up is October Sky. Jake Gyllenhaal is a portrayal of some NASA engineer. Oh, let's do the poll again. Hold on. Don't vote. Now vote. Yeah, so Jake Gyllenhaal portrays some some rocket engineer that his father's a coal miner and thinks that the rocket engineering business is a dead end. He's gonna amount to nothing, blah blah blah. It's a great story about father and son, but also, I mean, they're building and firing rockets off all movie. It's pretty dope, and it's also kind of like a cool character, Cool character, kind of plays out, and the group of friends is kind of exciting and fun. I really liked the movie, but honestly, I just thought it was kind of, I don't know. For the time, it was really good. You know what I mean? It's not B or A. You only get one, Tyrion. In the in the UK, we have a grade for U for unclassified, which is below F. A B- or C+ based off the trailer. Yeah, I might give it a B. We have a C coming up. I might put it in B. I liked it. I like Jake Gyllenhaal in it. I'm probably not gonna watch it again in my life. Maybe I might watch it once, maybe twice even. But it was a good story. I mean, like his dad died, I think, right? And he had to take on got very sick, and he had to take on the family role of coal mining and give up his dreams of becoming a rocket scientist. And then he ended up going back and becoming one of the his dad died. Did his dad die? I can't remember if his dad died or just got really sick, but he had to take over for his dad, go into the coal mines, give up his dream of chasing this rocket scientist dream. And yeah, I would put it at a B. 5 for 10, might watch again, might not. So, don't know. Next up is Radioactive. Good story. Dad died. Next up is Radioactive. The Amazon. It's on Amazon. I think I watched it. The movie about Marie Curie. Vote now. I actually think this is a C. Let me tell you my biggest complaint about this movie, Radioactive, was I felt they really stiffed Curie out of like what she was, which was just like a brilliant scientist. Like, I felt like they tried so hard to dramatize her life. 3, oh, you mean C is 4? Okay, well, it's probably gonna go to C. I'm not gonna lie. They tried so hard to dramatize her life that I felt like it got way too like artistic, and it lost sight of like what it was, right? Like, it wasn't like the biopic itself is a work of art, right? It's theater. It's a movie. It's a medium film, right? So then they kind of like also added these like theater style, artistic, dramatic effects. And it was like, I don't know, it felt way over the top. Like, I was kind of didn't really know, like, her story is so brilliant and so interesting that you don't need to add all that fluff to it to make it sound interesting. Yeah, the movie wasn't good. That's it. Yeah, like, it just wasn't good. I agree. It's gonna go to C. It's gonna go to C. I'm such a square. I can't help that. Tyrion. We have 2 more. The Man Who Knew Infinity. Let's do the poll straight up for this one. This is so good. I mean, this is so good. How could you not like The Man Who Knew Infinity? Ramanujan, Hardy, Littlewood, the actor that plays Littlewood, probably like the only thing I know of where he's not a villain. It's so good. I feel like I'm okay putting this at an S, right? Like, Raj Patel, so good. What's his, Jeremy Lyons, right? Irons, Jeremy Irons. Scar from the original Lion King comes to play this mathematician philosopher. Brilliant job. Brilliant job. The acting is so good. And I mean, Robin Nugent's story is so good. And this was like the first portrayal that I've seen of it that was so good. Jeremy Irons. What did I say? I say Jeremy Irons, right? It took me a little bit to get there. I feel very torn on this one as I didn't think it pushes how amazing he was enough. Really? I mean, the thing that I liked about it were they were specific about the things he did. They were like, he attempted to solve the, was it the Riemann hypothesis? He attempted to solve the, and like he thought he solved it. Turns out he didn't. The, what did he do? What's his big thing? It's not permutations. It's something with a P though. My favorite story about Littlewood is another mathematician met him at a party and was shocked that he was a real person. So they portray that at the, don't they portray that in the movie? Partitions. That's right. Partitions. Yeah. I am comfortable. I am comfortable placing this in S tier. It's so good. Oh, you should see it. You should see it. It's so good. But I love the fact that they don't steer away from the math. They don't steer away from the real stories. Like a lot of the real stories actually happen. Like that 1728 or whatever story about the 1729 where it's the sum of the 2 different ways to express the sum of 2 cubes or something like that. Like that story wasn't fake. That was a real story. Every positive integer has one of his personal friend, Littlewood on Ramanujan. Yeah, like a lot of that stuff was like legit. And I loved it. And it's done so well. Last one. I'm really torn. First, has anyone ever seen the movie Agora? I don't know what to say about this movie. Agora. Has anyone ever seen it? I watched it last night because like I wanted to know more about it. First, I got to look up the person because I keep forgetting her name. Hypatia. Hypatia was a Hypatia was a 4th century astronomer and philosopher in Alexandria, Egypt, at the time where Christianity was just legalized. Haven't seen Agora. Okay, so Agora is wild. I don't know if I should recommend it or not because the acting is not particularly good. And neither is the screenplay. But the fact that it really happened is wild to me. Like, I don't know how to write a good screenplay on this because the story doesn't even sound believable. So if you would like to know, I'm going to tell you. If you don't like to know, mute me for about a minute. Okay, here we go. The movie is like, it follows a mathematician and an astronomer, philosopher at the time. They're all like kind of like bundled up in this one thing, Apatia, who's very interested in the work of what's his name? Arctiphus, or who was the person that did the first heliocentric universe? Arctiphus or something like that. And she goes and she revisits the model of him with the heliocentric universe. And she's like revisiting in a really strange time because Christianity is just legalized and the Christians are insane. Absolutely insane. Like throwing the people into fire, and like there's so many portrayals in this movie of like just they all just start killing each other. Like all of them, like everybody. Christians and the non-Christians, they, you know, the people, the you know, I don't want to call them pagans because that's kind of associated with like, you know, evil people, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're the people who are worshiping the gods. I mean, they're just straight up murdering everybody constantly. Like everybody is. Like the one group attacks them. It's like the first, it's like the pagans, the people who are worshiping the old Egyptian gods, versus the Christians, you know, and they go and attack the Christians. Well, the Christians just have this massive force. They just turn around, they just start slaughtering everybody. And then the Caesar like grants them, and what's really sad is like the Caesar at the time grants them access to the temple. And the pagans have to leave the temple. But that's the library, not the temple, the library. The Library of Alexandria. And like that library had like all of this excellent works and writing. But then the Jews start to move in. And the Jewish people, like, the Christians start stoning the Jewish people. And the Jewish people started stoning the Christians. And then there's like massive murder to get the Jewish people out of there. It's so wild. It's so wild. And I just can't believe how like everybody is just killing everybody. It's insane to know that all of this was just like happening at 400, you know, AD. Like, and they're in the midst of it. There's this brilliant woman, astronomer, you know, philosopher who has realized that like the orbits of the planets are elliptical and the Earth rotates around the sun. And then at the very end of the movie, well, you have to watch it if you want to watch it. I just couldn't really believe it. And then the story arc of her slave was probably more frustrating than anything else. But the whole time to think like that everything around them was going on. To me, it was like one of those movies where the entire time you're Googling the things that are happening and you're like, no way that's real. No way that that's real. And most of it looked pretty real. Oh, it was horrible. I'm gonna put it at B. I'm gonna put it at B simply because I don't know how on earth anybody like could not find all of that horrifyingly fascinating. And just to think to yourself, like, how lucky are we that is not a thing these days, where there's not just literally you go to a city and like everybody in the city just starts committing mass like murder on each other. I mean, like that still happens to some degree in places, and you know, and that's just something we should feel privileged about, that we're like chilling at home watching things on our laptop or whatever, and like this stuff really happened to people is kind of mind-blowing and mind-boggling, and to some degree still does. Ugh. So Curie is worse then, absolutely. I just didn't like Curie. I just thought it was pretty bad. I just thought it was pretty poorly written. She has such a great story, and I just felt like they tried to artsy it up way too much and just butchered it. I probably just won't ever watch it again. She has a fantastic story. They could have done such brilliant things with that movie, but yeah, not what they did. Nope. So there it is. I think if we were to order the tiers, I would probably put Agora last, Theory of Everything first. That's fine. A Beautiful Mind above Hawking for sure. And then for this one, I would probably go, let's see. Oh, man. Probably that order. All right. There it is. Let me know what you think.